If you're applying to study medicine or dentistry in the UK, there's one test that every single medical school requires. It's called the UCAT, the University Clinical Aptitude Test. In this video, we're going to explain exactly what the UCAT is, walk you through all 4 sections, and tell you what score it is you need to be competitive. Let's get into it. The UCAT is a 2-hour computer-based aptitude test taken by over 30,000 medicine and dentistry applicants every single year. It's sat at Pearson VUE test centres across the UK and internationally. The UCAT is the only admissions test for undergraduate medicine in the UK, so every single medical school uses it, including Oxford and Cambridge. But here's the thing that surprises a lot of students. Different universities use your UCAT score in different ways. Some will set a hard cut-off, meaning if you don't hit a certain score, your application isn't going to be considered, regardless of your grades. Others use it as a factor alongside your personal statement, GCSEs, and interview performance. Knowing how your chosen universities use the UCAT is just as important as the score itself, which we'll dig into later. The UCAT is split into 4 sections, so let's go through each one. Section 1 is verbal reasoning. You'll have 22 minutes to answer 44 questions, which gives you exactly 30 seconds per question. You'll be presented with big passages of text and be asked different types of questions. You may be asked whether statements about the passage are true, false, or whether you can't tell from the information given. Alternatively, you may also need to answer more free-form questions or complete an incomplete statement based on the content of the passage. This section tests your ability to quickly read, interpret, and evaluate written information, a skill that's essential for any doctor reviewing clinical literature or patient notes. The biggest challenge here is time. You do not have the luxury of reading every word carefully. You need to develop a strategy for skimming passages and locating the relevant information quickly. Section 2 is decision making. This one has 35 questions in 37 minutes, making it the least time pressured section of the test. Over a minute per question is pretty good by UCAT standards. You'll be asked to evaluate arguments, interpret data, and apply logic to reach a conclusion. Question types include Venn diagrams, logical puzzles, and statements about statistical information. Because you have slightly more time per question, this is a section where careful reading and methodical thinking can really pay off. Don't rush it just because you feel comfortable. Use the time to eliminate wrong answers systematically. Next, we have quantitative reasoning. 36 questions in 25 minutes. That's about 40 seconds per question. This section tests your ability to interpret numerical data and perform calculations. You'll see tables, charts, and graphs, and you'll need to extract the right information and work through the maths. Now, this isn't a maths exam and you don't need A-level maths to do well here. The calculations are GCSE level. Percentages, ratios, averages, unit conversions. The challenge is doing them accurately under extreme time pressure. The UCAT gives you an on-screen calculator, but relying on it too much will slow you down. The students who score highest in this section are the ones who can do basic arithmetic quickly in their heads. Lastly is situational judgement. This is 69 questions in 26 minutes, the most questions per minute of any section. This is the most unique subtest for multiple reasons, such as the fact that it's the only one with a direct link to medicine. You'll be presented with scenarios that you might encounter as a medical student or junior doctor, and asked to judge the appropriateness of different responses. Here's the key thing that trips people up. You're not being asked what you would personally do. You're being asked what a medical professional should do, according to medical guidelines and professional standards. The best way to prepare for this section is to read the GMC's Outcomes for Graduates document and get into the mindset of a responsible medical professional, not a student answering a test. Situational judgement is scored differently from the other sections, which we'll dive into next. Each of the first 3 sections, verbal reasoning, decision making, and quantitative reasoning, are scored on a scale from 300 to 900. Your overall UCAT score is the total of these 3 sections combined, giving you a possible range of 900 to 2700. Situational judgement is scored separately, as you'll receive a band score from 1 to 4, where band 1 is the best. Most competitive universities will want to see a band 1 or 2, with some flat out rejecting anyone with a band 3 or 4. But what's a good score on the other sections? Well, based on previous year's data, an average score per section sits around 620 to 630, which would put your total score around 1860 to 1890. A score above 2000 is generally considered quite competitive for most medical schools. But for the most competitive universities, including Oxford and Cambridge, you really want to be averaging 700 or above per section, putting your total at 2100 or higher. But remember, and this is important, there's no one single score that guarantees an offer. Different universities weigh the UCAT differently, with some having hard cut-offs and others using it holistically. So, if your score isn't as high as you'd hoped, it doesn't mean that you can't get in. It just means you need to be strategic about where you apply. Focus on universities that place more emphasis on other parts of your application, like your GCSEs, personal statement, or interview performance. If all of this feels like a lot to take in, you're not wrong. The UCAT section of the Big Book of Oxbridge applications breaks down every subtest and gives you preparation strategies and helps you understand how your score fits into the bigger picture of the application. It's completely free, just use the link in the description below to download it. Let's quickly touch upon the dates you need to know for the UCAT. The exact dates change each year, so we'll keep things general, but what's important to know is that the UCAT registrations open in May, test slot openings open in June, and testing begins in July. The standard UCAT testing period runs from mid-July to late September, giving you plenty of time to take the test. Our strong advice is to sit the UCAT in July or early August. This gives you your score before you need to finalise your UCAS choices, so you can make strategic decisions about where to apply based on how you actually performed, not how you hope to perform. Plus, it frees up time for other parts of your application, and in September, it allows you to focus on your return to school. So, we know how the test works now, but how do you actually prepare for a test that doesn't have a syllabus? 3 things. Number 1, practice under timed conditions. The UCAT is fundamentally a speed test. You might be able to answer every question correctly if you had unlimited time, but you don't. Start practicing untimed to learn the question types, then quickly move to strict timed conditions. The official UCAT practice tests on the UCAT website are the best place to start. There are 4 full practice tests with a decent selection of subject-specific question banks available for free, but these can be a little bit limited. Number 2, identify your weak sections early. Most students have 1 or 2 sections that drag their overall score down. If you can identify those ones early, say within the first week of preparation, then you can spend the majority of your study time fixing them rather than repeating sections you're already doing really well with. Number 3, prepare for situational judgment differently. This section requires a different mindset, not just practice questions. Read the GMC's Outcomes for Graduates document thoroughly. Get into the character of a medical professional. When you answer SJT questions, you're not answering as yourself, you're answering as the doctor the GMC expects you to become. So, that's the UCAT in full. Remember what we've covered here and begin to build up your UCAT preparation bank. We've got plenty more advice on the UCAT and other aspects of the medicine application process, so if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do. And if you haven't already, download the Big Book of Oxbridge applications from the link in the description. It's totally free and covers everything we've talked about in even more detail. Good luck, and we'll see you next time.